I just beat LA Noire. Like, literally, like, maybe 15 minutes ago, I just beat it. This game is basically one of its kind. I don't think there is another game that's like this game. You're basically a detective, and you investigate these cases. You go through different stages of investigation. You start off as a police officer, and you go through different promotions. After police officer, you're promoted to detective in the traffic division, and then after that, you go through to homicide, and then you go to vice, and then arson. After arson, there's a different investigation type, so I won't go into that, so it won't ruin anything, but yeah, there's so many types of investigation in this game. It makes it interesting, but I will admit that it did kind of bore me sometimes. I think it's an okay game. I thought it was pretty fun sometimes, but it does get kind of repetitive. It's the same makers of Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, and I prefer those games like so much more than this game. I thought I was really gonna like this game because I'm really into detective stuff and mysteries, and I love Sherlock Holmes and all those detective shows. I used to watch them all the time when I was younger, but it was different. It's a different experience when you're doing it in a game, especially when it's a long game. I mean, it's not so much that it's long, because it is 3 discs. It's 3 discs long. It's not so much that it's a long game, it's just the amount of stuff that's in the game. I mean, the graphics are really good. I've seen better graphics, but they are very good, especially when it comes to facial animation. They kind of had to really work hard on the facial animation because you invest in investigations and interrogations. You really have to look at the person's face, like the person's facial expressions, to see if they're lying or not. So it's very interesting, but I think that's as far as it gets. It's a very interesting game. It's not like I would go back and play it. Like with Grand Theft Auto, I kind of always want to go back and play it. Red Dead Redemption, I've already played it twice. I want to go back and play it again. But LA Noire is just like a one-time thing for me. Like, I just beat it once and that's it. I wouldn't go back and play it because it's not that type of game where you're kind of like, oh, that was so good, you know. It's just like, oh, that was interesting. At least in my opinion. So yeah, it's worth buying. If you really are into detective stuff. If you're not into the mysteries, if you're not into the detective stuff, if you're not into the whole talking stuff, like dialogue, you want action, I'd say don't even play it, because you really are going to be those type of people on the internet that are reviewing this game saying that it's really boring, because there is not that much action. You do get into like these little gunfights. There's a lot of chase scenes. I mean, all the time it was this chase scene, like you're chasing after this guy that just took off running, or you're chasing after this car that just took off, and you're like, again? I mean, that's probably the most action that is in this game, is chase scenes. You don't really use your gun. Sometimes you do, but it's not like crazy fights. So for those of you that really like action-packed games, this is not the game for you. You are probably going to get really bored because there's a lot of talking in this game. And you have to really pay attention to what they're saying, because you could really mess up if you lose some piece of information, or if you miss the question that you just asked. You're like, shoot, wait, what did I just ask? Is he lying? Is he not lying? So it's like, it's kind of, you have to really pay attention in this game. You can't really like doze off, so it's for a certain crowd, I will say that. I think the thing that I liked the most about this game were your partners. You go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 partners, I think. You have your partner as a police officer. You have him, he's with you maybe like 5 minutes, because then you get promoted, so he's not really a big character. But once you hit like, once you hit traffic, your partners are really cool. That's what I really liked about this game, the characters. The main character, the guy that you are, Phelps, I don't like that guy. I really don't like his character. So I think that's probably one of the reasons that I didn't really, I can't say that I'm crazy about the game, because if I don't like the character that I am, it's kind of hard for me to really get into it. I don't know. I think he was kind of full of himself, and they did it on purpose. His character is like that. It feels like he's up there, you know, and any praise, he's like, yeah. So I don't know, I didn't really like him, but he was okay. He wasn't like, oh, this guy's such an idiot. But I preferred my partners. I think my favorite partner was your homicide partner, Rusty. He was really funny, he was cool, he was like, he didn't really care, he was kind of like a burnt out cop. The driving in this game is completely different from GTA. In GTA, you could really do whatever the hell you wanted to. You could steal a car and, like, run over people, and if there wasn't a cop around, you could get away with it, and, like, speed and, like, jump off. It was crazy. I mean, you could do whatever the hell you wanted to. In this game, since you are a cop, you have to be really careful with the way that you drive. You can't just drive like a maniac. If you hit a person, there are consequences. I don't know exactly what the consequences are because I never hit a person, amazingly enough, because I'm not a great driver. But I did hit a lot of stuff, like a lot of posts, a lot of cars, and at the end of the case, they do charge you. You don't make any money, obviously, in this game, like in GTA, but they charge, like, the office, the police station, a certain amount of money, and I think it affects your score for that mission that you just accomplished. So if the less things you hit, the higher a score you get. So if you hit a bunch of stuff and you owe so much to the city, then your score goes down a little bit. But that's basically it. So you just really have to be careful with the way that you drive. That if you're worried about that type of stuff, if you don't really care, then yeah, you could drive like a maniac and not really care what's going on. But you kind of have to be more careful about it in this game than in the other games.